Agriculture in the Classroom seeks to improve student knowledge of agriculture by applying authentic, agricultural-based content as the context to teach core curriculum concepts in science, social studies, language arts, and nutrition. In an effort to further deepen the partnership from the grassroots, Cabinet Office directed Executive Office of the President on Tuesday the 17th of September 2024 that the Ministry of Environment, Climate Change, and Forestry to establish a more robust framework for community-based forest associations to further empower local communities in forest conservation efforts. National Landscape and Ecosystem Restoration Strategy 2023 to 2032, which aims to plant 15 billion trees. Cabinet acknowledged with appreciation the growing partnership between the public and private sectors in advancing the tree planting campaign. Welcome to Suya e-learning for food security, climate change, school feeding program, nutrition education for all. When you have bad governance and poor accountability from your local government leaders, then you are doomed to live under control of cartels and fools. We hope you subscribe to our channel YouTube at Suya Mombasa and share this links with your friends or family. Rural poverty, poor technology adoption. Least interested to participate. No capacity to invest even in low input technologies. Poor market access and unfavorable policies. Poor soil fertility, a social, economic and biophysical problem. Land is the object of competition in a number of potentially overlapping ways, as an economic asset, as a connection with identity and social legitimacy, and as political territory. Competition over land and its resources is at the center of the nexus between land and conflict. Top surface area. The most active part of a soil particle is its surface area. A particle's surface is where nutrient exchange takes place. Sand particles have a small surface area relative to their mass, meaning they do not hold onto nutrients well. Clay particles have a large surface area relative to their mass, so a small amount of clay can add a significant amount of surface area to a soil, increasing the nutrient holding capacity. The amount of organic matter in the soil depends primarily on rainfall, air temperature, the kinds of plants that have been growing in a soil, management practices, soil temperature, and drainage. Soils that are tilled frequently are usually low in organic matter because tilling decreases residue particle size and increases the amount of air in the soil, increasing the rate of organic matter decomposition. With the removal of barriers to agricultural development aided by new investments, it is estimated that Africa's agricultural output could increase from $280 billion per year to $1 trillion by 2030. We celebrate the increased investment and the renewed commitment of governments to allocate 10% of public expenditure to agriculture. We applaud the resolve to escape from the shame of dependency on food imports and handouts.
Agriculture and food. Agriculture can help reduce poverty, raise incomes and improve food security for 80% of the world's poor, who live in rural areas and work mainly in farming. The World Bank Group is a leading financier of agriculture. Healthy, sustainable and inclusive food systems are critical to achieve the world's development goals. Agricultural development is one of the most powerful tools to end extreme poverty, boost shared prosperity, and feed a projected 10 billion people by 2050. Growth in the agriculture sector is 2 to 4 times more effective in raising incomes among the poorest compared to other sectors. But agriculture-driven growth, poverty reduction, and food security are at risk. Multiple shocks, from COVID-19 related disruptions to extreme weather, pests, and conflicts, are impacting food systems. The goal of ending global hunger by 2030 is currently off track. Conflicts, climate change, and high food prices are driving food and nutrition insecurity.
Council of Governors, Agricultural Committee. Background, role of the committee. The committee handles all matters relating to sustainable agricultural practices, poverty eradication by utilization of high-value inputs and equipment, value addition for farmers, food security and drought management, production and marketing, fisheries development, and adoption of technological advancements in agriculture. The committee also addresses matters related to agricultural levies and licenses, devolvement of agricultural projects to counties, sharing of revenue for export abattoirs in Nairobi, intergovernmental relations by developing mechanism for consultation and cooperation for the agriculture sector. Legal framework. The primary source of legislation of the committee's activities is the Constitution of Kenya 2010. The other key sources of legislation include the National Drought Management Authority Act No. 4 of 2016, the Fisheries Management and Development Act, No. 35 of 2016, the Seeds and Plant Varieties Amendment Act, 2016, the Fertilizers and Animal Foodstuffs Amendment Act, 2015, the Crops Act No. 16 of 2013, the Agriculture, Fisheries and Food Authority Act, 2013. Accelerated programs to significantly increase food production in addition to other interventions so as to reduce the cost of living. B. The need to expand existing job creation programs to create new intervention to address unemployment, in order to absorb thousands of unemployed youths into gainful work. C. The necessity for a public conversation on innovative, prudent, transparent, and accountable use of public resources, along with people-friendly mechanisms for domestic resource mobilization and reducing public expenditure. The importance of constituting a more inclusive government that unlocks the potential of citizens from all sectors to drive national transformation. The 2010 Constitution guarantees the principle of public participation and freedom of information and underscores the right of citizens to present any issue before Parliament. The other centerpiece of the 2010 Constitution was the devolution of power to Kenya's 47 county governments. County governments represent the level of government closest to the people, therefore, they directly influence the effectiveness of policies and strategies at a local level. D. Coordination. An effective policymaking process should involve coordination among different government agencies and departments to ensure policies align with other government priorities and objectives. Although coordination mechanisms are in place, their effectiveness has been less than optimal. In furtherance of the administration's commitment to conserving the nation's heritage and splendor, the meeting considered a raft of programs and policies designed to accelerate climate change adaptation within Kenya's terrestrial and aquatic ecosystems. As the onset of the short rains approaches, October-December, Cabinet was briefed on preparations for seedling distribution under the National Landscape and Ecosystem Restoration Strategy 2023 to 2032, which aims to plant 15 billion trees. Cabinet acknowledged with appreciation the growing partnership between the public and private sectors in advancing the tree planting campaign. In that regard, and in an effort to further deepen the partnership from the grassroots, Cabinet directed the Ministry of Environment, Climate Change, and Forestry to establish a more robust framework for community-based forest associations to further empower local communities in forest conservation efforts. In furtherance of the administration's commitment to conserving the nation's heritage and splendor, the meeting considered a raft of programs and policies designed to accelerate climate change adaptation within Kenya's terrestrial and aquatic ecosystems. As the onset of the short rains approaches, October-December, Cabinet was briefed on preparations for seedling distribution under the National Landscape and Ecosystem Restoration Strategy 2023 to 2032, which aims to plant 15 billion trees. Cabinet acknowledged with appreciation the growing partnership between the public and private sectors in advancing the tree planting campaign. In that regard, and in an effort to further deepen the partnership from the grassroots, Cabinet directed the Ministry of Environment, Climate Change, and Forestry to establish a more robust framework for community-based forest associations to further empower local communities in forest conservation efforts.
If we wait for others to take action on our behalf, we'll be waiting a lifetime. But, if we change our mindset to a mindset of hope and faith in what's just, then nothing is stopping us. This quote serves as a reminder that change starts with individual action and that each one of us has the power to shape the world around us. In today's world, it is easy to feel overwhelmed by the problems and challenges that we face. From poverty and inequality to environmental destruction and social injustice, the problems we face seem insurmountable. However, Gandhi's words remind us that change is possible, and that it begins with us. Being the change we wish to see in the world requires us to take action and stand up for what we believe in. It means living our values and principles, even when it is not easy or popular to do so. It means being a beacon of hope and positivity in a world that is often filled with darkness and negativity. Engaging in digital innovations equips youth with a unique set of skills that build a synergy between indigenous knowledge and modern technology, thereby enhancing youth leadership, technological proficiency, environmental stewardship, and entrepreneurship in agroecology. Digital innovation in agroecology not only offers youth meaningful opportunities for economic growth through agroecological entrepreneurship, but also empowers them to take ownership of their future. It also enhances their resilience to challenges such as climate change and market volatility, while deepening their connection with the environment and positioning them as key protectors of the planet's natural resources.
What is training and development? Training and development in human resource management is the process of acquiring knowledge, skills, and attitude that helps improve employees' job performance and enables future career growth. Training refers to acquiring specific knowledge and skills for a particular job or task. It is usually a short-term activity concerned with improving an employee's current job performance. It includes formal training courses, on-the-job training, or coaching sessions. Agropreneurship is an individual who starts, organizes, and manages a business venture focusing on the agricultural sector. What is agropreneurship? Agricultural entrepreneurship. Agropreneurship is the application of creativity and the innovation in the domestication of plants and animals by committing the required human and non-human resource, assuming the associated calculated risks and receiving the rewards of monetary and personal satisfaction and severing the needs of local community. What is an agripreneur model? This follows a decentralized approach in empowering rural youth and incentivizes them to play an active role in agricultural development in their region. An agricultural entrepreneurship brings together services such as credit and market linkage, access to high-quality input, and crop advisory for a cluster of about 150 to 200 farmers. Versatile learner. One who purposefully seeks new information to expand his/her knowledge base and uses that information to impact the world. One who can adapt his/her thinking in ways that allow for open discussion, intellectual pursuit, and lifelong learning. Community builder. One who values relationships as the foundation of community life. One who sees his/her role in society as an opportunity to serve others. One who has the ability to interact positively with others from different backgrounds, beliefs, and mindsets.
Nutrition education helps to build the capacities for people to feed themselves and their families well. Get the right foods at the right prices. Prepare healthy foods and meals which they enjoy. The role of nutrition education, objectives. Increase awareness. To raise awareness about the importance of nutrition education as a critical tool in addressing hunger and promoting informed food choices among vulnerable populations. Enhance food security. By offering specialized nutrition education programs to marginalized populations, to increase access to nutrient-dense food and decrease food insecurity. Empower individuals. to empower individuals with the knowledge and skills necessary to make healthier food choices, manage their resources efficiently, and thereby reduce the prevalence of malnutrition. Reduce childhood malnutrition. To decrease the rates of childhood malnutrition through nutrition education initiatives in schools and communities.
Inadequate skills, knowledge, and information. A large proportion of the youth have limited access to hands-on training, information, and cutting-edge technologies. Where the innovation opportunities are available, affordability and funding remains a constraint. Agriculture is not an examinable subject in primary and secondary school, therefore creating a lack of interest amongst students and teachers. Low exposure to practical skills and limited opportunities in internships and mentorships also contribute to lack of skills. Parents and teachers play a role in creating a negative attitude in agriculture, using it as a source of punishment and a career for non-performing students. The term influencer has become quite ubiquitous in the online space, especially in social media marketing. What was previously being done by celebrities is now taken over by regular people with large followings on social media platforms. These individuals are called influencers, and they founded a new branch of marketing, influencer marketing. What do influencers do? Influencers do just what their name suggests: they influence people. They do so by creating content for brands, running branded giveaways, attending events, sharing personal experiences, or building a community for brands. Influencers also create a positive brand reputation online by advocating for a product or service and recommending it to their followers. You cannot force someone to comprehend a message they are not ready to receive. Still, you must never underestimate the power of planting a seed. I love this quote because the message is supportive of both sides, the speaker and the listener. This reinforces the premise that we each have the right to our own thoughts and opinions. We each have the right to take the time we need to think things over, to process information and make up our own minds in due course. Patience can be in short supply these days, and we seem to have lost the fine art of respecting each other. Time is an important factor when planting a seed, for just as in nature each type of seed has different germination timelines and nutrition requirements, human beings also have different timelines for processing information, which isn't currently part of their reality. School gardening interventions were predominantly used to influence school-aged children's knowledge, attitudes, and/or behaviors toward diet and nutrition, particularly in connection to increasing fruit and/or vegetable consumption. Access to and consumption of healthy, nutritious food plays a crucially important role in maintaining good health and well-being and is a fundamental human right. Global urbanization and accompanying detachment from traditional agricultural practices have accentuated the decline in access to healthy food, including fruit and vegetables, and by extension, the associated nutritional benefits. Key mechanisms included embedding nutrition-based and garden-based education in the curriculum, experiential learning opportunities, family engagement and participation, authority figure engagement, cultural context, use of multi-pronged approaches, and reinforcement of activities during implementation. School environments can create healthy settings to foster children's health and well-being. School gardening is gaining popularity as an intervention for healthier eating and increased physical activity. We used a systematic, realist approach to investigate how school gardens improve health and well-being outcomes for school-aged children, why, and in what circumstances. A diet containing ample amounts of protein is associated with several mental health boosting benefits, including increased serotonin, or feel-good chemicals in the brain, reduced cortisol, or stress hormones in the body, balanced blood sugar levels, and improved mental clarity. Women's education and skills development. Educating girls increases their long-term earnings potential and reduces risks associated with early marriage and early childbirth for girls and young women. We must also focus on vocational training, upskilling, and reskilling for women to ensure they are capable of taking part in income-generating activities, including establishing and running their own businesses profitably. These 17 Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, agreed upon in 2015 by world leaders, aim to create a better, fairer world by 2030, ending poverty, urgently addressing climate change and ending inequality. The Sustainable Development Goals are the blueprint to achieve a better and more sustainable future for all. They address the global challenges we face, including those related to poverty, inequality, climate change, environmental degradation, peace and justice. The 17 goals are all interconnected, and in order to leave no one behind, it is important that we achieve them all by 2030. The 2030 Development Agenda calls on all countries to end hunger, achieve food security, improve nutrition, promote sustainable agriculture. According to the Ministry of Health, Kilifi County has the highest number of stunted children in Kenya, with 1 in every 3 children affected. Increasing women's capacity produces immediate results for children because women put up to 90% of their earnings back into their households, much higher than the estimated 35% by men, UNFAO, 2016. Women spend the income they earn on food, health care, and education for their children, and also reinvest it in their own income-generating activities, disrupting the cycle of poverty. The 2030 Development Agenda calls on all countries to end hunger, achieve food security, improve nutrition, promote sustainable agriculture. According to the Ministry of Health, Kilifi County has the highest number of stunted children in Kenya, with 1 in every 3 children affected.
Health and nutrition have significant impact on the overall educational achievements of school-aged children. Ensuring that children are well fed, healthy and able to learn is essential to the effectiveness of an education system. The main goal of the school meals program is to support the government's effort towards attainment of universal primary education, UPE, and education for all, EFA. It has become a significant strategy for reaching marginalized communities, especially girls in the OSIL districts. The program has helped to increase enrollment, prevent dropout and stabilize attendance at assisted pre-primary and primary school. 1.1 Regular School Meals Program, SMP. The regular program involves the physical distribution of food commodities to schools. The bulk of the food is imported, though there are certain cases when food is procured locally, especially cereals. The regular SMP is implemented with support of World Food Programme, WFP, and provides midday meal tea. Innovative programs based on systemic approaches, such as homegrown school feeding, are at the nexus of human capital development, local agriculture and rural transformation, and there is wide recognition of their multiple benefits in contributing to the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals. It is through broad-based collaboration in strengthening effective and sustainable national school feeding programs and systems that true progress can be made in ending child hunger, ensuring that children receive the nourishment and education that will enable them to thrive.
There will come a time when only those that know how to plant will be eating. Chief Oren Lyons. If you like African food systems content, please subscribe and share our channel with your friends and family, or if you're new here, hit the subscribe button so you make sure to never miss our weekly presentation podcast. Agriculture is tool to create health, wealth, shelter, protect environment, food, nutrition and basic skills development for our local communities. The UN Food Systems Summit, UNFSS, garnered global attention to the need to transform our food systems to ensure they contribute positively to people's nutrition and health, while protecting our planet. Countries submitted national pathways detailing their commitment and strategy towards food systems transformation. GLOPAN, CARE and WHO analyzed the pathways to determine how successfully health, nutrition, gender equality and systemic issues, including environmental and implementation policy actions, were integrated into these pathways. Objectives: this event aims to present a snapshot of how nutrition and health policy actions are integrated in food system transformation while taking a broader systematic approach. To share experiences from national conveners to provide an opportunity to learn how nutrition and gender policy action can be successfully integrated in national pathways to ensure they will deliver healthy diets from sustainable food systems for all.
During their 2016 ordinary session, AU heads of state and government declared African Day of School Feeding, ADSF, on the 1st March of every year by AU Assembly, 589-26, on HGSF. Home-grown school feeding in improving health, nutrition and education of children. AU's Agenda 2063 aimed at fostering the skills, human capital, and education revolution in Africa. From a point of view, the statement itself suggests that people with right attitude and choices can escape poverty. Implicitly, this also means that people are poor because they aren't working hard and they once made bad choices and decisions that landed them in poverty and kept them there. Poverty is a state of mind that can be changed by self-belief. Staying happy with the bare minimum and having a rich mindset will be effective. We can focus on things we have rather than those we want to have. Happiness can be attained without a huge amount of money.
The vision of the World Food Programme, WFP, is to reduce hunger among school children, so that hunger is not an obstacle to their development. The school feeding program is a significant intervention by WFP to help reduce vulnerability to hunger and protect and promote livelihoods by investing in human capital through better health, nutrition, and education. WFP has worked with governments and non-governmental organizations, NGOs, on school feeding programs for more than 45 years. Children start life as totally dependent beings. Children must rely on adults for the nurture and guidance they need to grow towards independence. Such nurture is ideally found from adults in children's families, but when primary adult caregivers cannot meet children's needs, it is up to the state as the primary duty bearer to find an alternative in the best interests of the child. Growing your own food is the most sustainable way to feed yourself and your family. When we grow our own food, we eat seasonally, locally, and sustainably. Growing your own food is like taking a master class in nutrition. Starting a garden. If you have a garden in your library, everything will be complete. Marcus Tullius Cicero. Life begins the day you start a garden. Chinese proverb. There are always flowers for those who want to see them. Henri Matisse. He who plants a garden plants happiness. Chinese proverb. More grows in the garden than the gardener sows. Spanish proverb. Gardening is cheaper than therapy, and you get tomatoes. Gardening is easy. Stick it in the ground the right way up and most plants will grow perfectly well. Monty Don. Most plants taste better when they've had to suffer a little. Deanna Kennedy. What are the different layers of the forest? Though they're all connected, these distinct layers receive different levels of sunlight and host different types of species. Common terminology for the full layers of the forest describes the forest floor, the understory, the canopy, and the emergent layer. What is layering in forestry? Layering is a technique of plant propagation where the new plant remains at least partially attached to the mother plant while forming new roots and can occur naturally through modified stem structures. The emergent layer comprising the tallest trees. The main canopy layer comprising most of the tall trees. The subcanopy comprising mainly small shade-tolerant trees. The sapling and understory layer just above the forest floor. The forest floor.
$1 billion will be spent on the acquisition of modern equipment that will enable inmates to receive skills that will in turn help them produce high-quality products. The government will spend $2 billion to buy modern farming equipment to mechanize all prison farms. The government will spend Sh3 billion to improve correctional facilities and the welfare of prisoners and prison staff across the country, Interior CS Kithio Kindiki has said. He said on Monday Sh1 billion will be spent on the acquisition of modern equipment that will enable inmates to receive skills that will in turn help them produce high-quality products. The CS said the government is determined to restore the dignity of inmates by providing decent uniforms, mattresses and beds. We are determined to entrench reforms that our prisons so desperately require to rescue them from their dilapidated state. We also prioritize the welfare of inmates and prison staff, and in a bid to restore their dignity
As part of the broad-based administration's commitment to advancing accountability and transparency in the management of public affairs as a strategy to combat corruption, Cabinet assessed the progress made under a series of initiatives aimed at strengthening governance and ensuring the prudent use of public resources. On the 15th of March, 2022, the UN General Assembly unanimously adopted a resolution entitled International Year of Rangelands and Pastoralists, 2026 at the initiative of Mongolia. Currently, pastureland accounts for more than half of the world's land, with over 200 million people raising livestock in pastoral and agro-pastoral systems across all regions, and the sector plays a significant role in the global economy and achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals. However, in recent years, on the one hand, rangelands and pastures have been affected by increasing climate variability and soil degradation, and on the other hand, pastoralists are facing many problems, including insecure tenure rights and land use change, as well as limited access to markets, education and health services. Therefore, for the pastoral populations and for the global sustainable development, in 2018, the government of Mongolia put forward an initiative to proclaim the International Year of Rangelands and Pastoralists, and its tireless efforts in cooperation with organizations and mechanisms such as the UN FAO, UNEP and International Support Group have yielded the current UNGA resolution to celebrate the year in 2026. Saturation refers to a soil's water content when practically all pore spaces are filled with water. This is a temporary state for well-drained soils, as the excess water quickly drains out of the larger pores under the influence of gravity to be replaced by air. What happens when soil is saturated with water? Saturated soil is waterlogged with all its air squeezed out. If soil stays saturated too long, it can promote devastating diseases, leading to the death of trees, shrubs, and other plants. Healthy soil has little pockets of air between the molecules of sand, clay, silt, gravel, and rock. Water moves through a soil in the large pores and drains away due to the force of gravity. This water is called gravitational water. Gravitational water represents the difference in soil moisture content between the saturation condition and field capacity. What do you mean by gravity water? The amount of water in the soil that percolates downward under the influence of gravity and reaches the water table is called gravitational water. Whereas the amount of water that is retained in minute interstitial spaces in the form of thin films surrounding the soil particles is known as capillary water. Capillary water is held in pores that are small enough to hold water against gravity, but not so tightly that roots cannot absorb it. This water occurs as a film around soil particles and in the pores between them and is the main source of plant moisture. As this water is withdrawn, the larger pores drain first. Hygroscopic means the tendency of absorbing moisture from the air. Some water in the soil forms an extremely thin, tightly held film around the soil particles. It is called hygroscopic water. In the soil, a small portion of soil water is chemically bound with soil materials. It is called combined water. There will come a time when only those that know how to plant will be eating. Chief Oran Lions. If you like African food systems content, please subscribe and share our channel with your friends and family, or if you're new here, hit the subscribe button so you make sure to never miss our weekly presentation podcast. Agriculture is tool to create health, wealth, shelter, protect environment, food, nutrition and basic skills development for our local communities.